Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Matt here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today, we have another Gun Gripe episode for you. Today, Matt is going to be my co-host here on today's episode, and we're going to get into this issue here with the Glocks being discontinued. All right.
Yep. I mean, that's what the word on the street is, Eric, that,
Yep.
These Glocks are going to be in short supply here pretty soon.
Yep. So they have changed things up a little bit, and it may not be quite as bad as what people are making it out to be, but I do want to discuss it a little bit because it would appear that Glock is, caving to political pressure or starting to sort of solidify themselves against any future lawsuits which may develop. And I believe a lot of this primarily comes from the fact that, California just banned Glocks altogether. So maybe they're trying to get ahead of that a little bit, or perhaps it's that they have caved to some political pressure in regards to the switches and full auto sears and things. So we are going to get into this and discuss it a little bit and kind of give some thoughts on this. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at Sonoran Desert Institute for supporting today's video. If you are looking for a career in the gunsmithing world, they're definitely your go-to source of people to check out. They have some awesome curriculum, wonderful instructors, great distance learning programs. You can learn how to fly drones, you can learn how to run a gun business, you can learn how to work on guns, tons of other stuff. So check them out, Sonoran Desert Institute, and tell them that Eric sent you. You can find a link down in the description box below to go check out the school. Big thanks to SDI for supporting us for the long term. They've been with us for a long time. So I would like to, kind of talk about this a little bit. And Matt and I have been kind of briefly discussing this. But essentially, all the Glock models, except for the 43, the 42, and the 48, and I think a few of the other smaller frame X models, are going to be replaced with a new V model.
Correct.
The production specifics of the gun have not exactly been released, and to our knowledge, I don't even think if any of the production guns are even out there in the wild yet. So I think this seems like kind of a quick thing that they changed, like kind of rapidly within production.
Yeah, it definitely does. It happened literally in the span of 72 hours.
Right.
When it went from word on the street to...
Yeah, now it's official. From the horse's mouth, no pun intended. Glock... anyway, they raise horses. That's kind of cool. Hey, well, straight from the horse's mouth. That's fine. What it is. Anyway, with this issue, so basically all the current Glock models are being replaced with this V model. What does that mean? Okay, well, it means that essentially you have a Generation 6 Glock now, if you want to consider it that, and it is not auto sear ready. That's the primary change. I think they are going to change the trigger bar a little bit, and they're going to change the geometry of the slide so that it cannot accommodate a drop-in auto sear. That seems to be their main, let's just say hang up, is that they're not wanting these auto sears to be used as easily, so they're changing the gun design to not accommodate drop-in auto sears. Now, is that going to stop someone from converting the gun over to a machine gun? It may not. It may be something that's easy to overcome. I mean, the way the geometry is on the Glock upper and lower, I don't really see it being incredibly easy for them to make it completely, unbypassable, if you will. I haven't seen the new V model, so I don't know exactly what they are changing, but it would take some considerable changes to not make it to be able to be bypassed with some basic machining work.
Yeah, it's very similar to, and it's not exactly the same, but it's similar to the issue that the Mac ran into with the open bolt and closed bolt design with their Mac series, like the Mac 10s, Mac 11s. The open bolt, significantly easy to make it, to convert it.
Break the disconnector off.
Yep, and then they went into a closed bolt system.
Yeah.
I mean, is it impossible? No. Is it worth it? No. I mean, you have to make it to where it's not really feasible. It doesn't really make sense.
Here's the argument. The argument is if the end user has to perform a bunch of complex machining operations to get the gun to run full auto with a drop-in auto sear, then Glock has done their due diligence to basically make it to where, hey, the end user had to perform a considerable amount of work in order to, install an auto sear on the gun. I think they're solidifying themselves legally against potential lawsuits that could develop in the future. I think what they're trying to do is more or less kind of get ahead of it. Now, do I agree with the political pressure and them caving to what I perceive as being some political pressure? I don't, but it's their company and they can do what they want. I mean, I think from the standpoint of performance, you're not going to see a difference in the way the guns shoot or operate or perform. It's just that they won't be able to accept an auto sear. Now, I am curious because nobody's really talking about the stock varial on the back of the frame. I've tried to locate some pictures of the V model, and I haven't really been able to find anything other than just a list of specs. And it doesn't seem to really indicate that they're going to change the frame to make it to where it cannot accept any sort of a shoulder stock. All Gen 5, Gen 4, Gen 3, whatever, all the older Glocks up to this point can accept shoulder stocks and auto sears with very, very little effort or work required to get them to fit. On the standard Glock frame, you have to take a chainsaw file and make an ever so gentle little cut on the bottom of the top of the frame to get the auto sear to clear. But that's it. And honestly, if you just run the thing long enough, it'll dig its own little path. But generally, if you get in there and kind of open it up with a chainsaw file, it makes it a little more reliable right out the gate. Yep. So you have to make a tiny little change to the lower, but barely anything at all worth mentioning. They generally are drop-in sear ready. And I think that's their concern. I mean, FN went through a similar issue back in the day when they first started bringing in the early P90s.
Oh, yeah.
Those were basically full autos. So they had those gray trigger packs, and all it had was the disconnector that was attached. But if you bypassed, or let's just say cut that disconnector off completely, you would have a functional full auto P90 with very little work required. I mean, just a simple snapping off of that disconnector, or that the disconnector hook, boom, you got a machine gun if you have the gray pack that has the disconnector attached, the auto sear, the trip. Right. So FN had to put a stop to that. And what did they do? The trigger pack that will work in the P90 also works in the FS2000. So the FS2000s would do the same thing. So if you had an early FS2000 with the gray trigger pack, or a P90 with a gray trigger pack, you could pull your gray trigger pack out of the P90, put it in the FS2000, and boom, you've got a gun that's basically sear ready. It's ready to go. It is, for all intents and purposes, a machine gun. At least it was in the ATF size. And then FN had to drastically, change the trigger pack to make it to where you can't just drop one in like that. So FN went through a similar type of thing, and FN still sells plenty of P90s and everything like that. Now, is the P90 still a very easy gun to convert? Oh, yes, it is. It absolutely is. It is not difficult to convert the P90 over to a machine gun. It's not difficult to convert the MP5 over to a machine gun. It's not difficult to convert an AR-15 into a machine gun. So the problem is, while I can understand why Glock would want to get ahead of this and keep themselves out of any potential legal, entanglements, I think it also does simultaneously set a very dangerous precedence for the rest of the industry, because now the lawmakers and, the judges and no telling who else and all these activists are going to go, well, the rest of the gun industry, hey, your gun is too easy to convert to a machine gun, or whatever the case may be. They may try to apply some pressure and get other components of the industry to cave in a very similar way, be it from the worry about lawsuits or them trying to just chase more and more legislation to further regulate away their ability to even make products at all.
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult to do when you only have a consumer model. So, for example, like the Glocks, like there's no difference between that and, say, like law enforcement. Like, everything is fundamentally the same. Yeah. It's significantly easier when you have a military law enforcement version that has a different operating system, like the SAW. SAW is open bolt. Again, they came out with the consumer model, but it's closed bolt.
It is.
And you can convert it, but it's like
you have to have a metric ton of parts, and you have to do a metric ton of machine work to get a closed bolt semi-auto SAW to operate as an open bolt. So, can you do it? Yes, you can. Yeah. You're going to replace half the gun to do it, but you can do it.
So when you start looking at stuff like that, Glock was kind of in this area of like, it's only a matter of time before like the switches got out, and then it's like, it's a wrap.
I mean, I kind of understand where they're coming from. I mean, think about it. Glock relies on a lot of police and military sales. So if they want to keep making that gun for police and military, well, then by all means they can. And the thing is, think about how many thousands and thousands and thousands, if not millions, of Glocks have been produced. I mean, it's a very common gun. It's not like you're not going to be able to go to a gun show and buy a Gen 3 Glock, an older Glock, and probably not even pay that much more money. I mean, in the short term, people are going to try to scalp and go, oh, got a Gen 3 Glock, look at me.
Yep.
People are going to scalp for a while, but I seriously doubt that it's going to raise the price on the gun in any measurable fashion, especially if as things go through the courts and laws change, and especially the new laws in California maybe are challenged, and there's a lot of that happens. Maybe they'll go back to making the old gym models just like they were, and it's an easily reversible change. And it sounds to me like it is a very easily reversible change, that if they can make that change so quickly, it sounds like it's just a touch of a button on a CNC machine to go, oh, well, instead of channeling out this, we just leave a hump there, and it might just be that simple, which that's likely all it is, which, of course, anyone with a decent machine shop can machine even the V model out to accept an auto sear. Now, I haven't seen it in my hands, but I would imagine that it can absolutely be converted by anyone with half a knowledge of basic machining operations can do it.
You give somebody a CNC machine, a lathe, and a paper clip, and you're gonna get a full auto something. All right.
I understand that their clients are law enforcement and military, and they rely on a lot of government contracts to make a lot of their money. I get that. I understand that. Civilian sales may not necessarily be something they care about that much. But they apparently do, because if they're making a change to their entire line to accommodate what is basically at this point a potential lawsuit, or even it's not even that a lawsuit is brewing, it's just that the potential for a lawsuit.
There's a lot of liability.
They're trying to escape any potential liability that would result, which if they lost some sort of a lawsuit, maybe they would make them change the gun in some drastic way that it's not even a Glock anymore. So this is a way that allows them to self-regulate and change their gun voluntarily in a way that's only a modest change, but still they can say, look, this auto sear you found in this baggie in Chicago, it will not install in this gun.
Well,
we don't make that gun anymore. See? Oh, we changed it.
I hate to say it, but like the whole, precedence of this was set with Remington when they settled. Now people can go directly after the gun manufacturer. That opens up Glock to a ton of liability. And because they did that, now they realize, oh man, like Glock is going to be exposed here as far as like liability wise. Yeah. You're going to have kids running up on cars with switches and just spraying it. And they're not going to go after the guy that made the switch. They're going to go after the gun company.
Well, they're not supposed to be able to sue companies for liability, but I think that, the fact that they're just going after companies, it can still be a very expensive thing to protect yourself from. So let's say that someone does try to sue a company on the basis of liability for misuse of the product, which is not really allowed in the gun industry. It doesn't mean that they still won't have to spend hundreds of thousands, if not maybe millions of dollars to fight off some frivolous lawsuit that they know is bullcrap from day one. I think they're trying to just get ahead of any potential legal fees and things that they might, come down to, which, I wish that Glock wouldn't cave to any sort of political pressure, but at the same time, I know that they have a fiduciary responsibility to be profitable as a company, and maybe in their mind, that's how they view the future of the company as being viable, is by simply just making the minor change. And it's not like they're not going to make it for military and law enforcement any way they want it. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, really, if military wants a Glock 18, then they're just going to order a Glock 18 machine pistol anyway, which is arguably a better and more safer conversion than the Switch anyway. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I digress. I mean, I think that I don't think it's a very effective way of them trying to get the change that they want to see. I think that they're just giving like the low-hanging fruit to shut up the critics of the gun design and to get it out of the media and try to, at least make it appear that they've tried to keep up appearances and make some sort of a change that really isn't a change. I haven't seen it yet, but I would imagine it's probably just some stupid hump that prevents the sear, and like they redesign the trigger bar a little bit. Okay, so you got to put a Gen 3 trigger bar in there and file out a little freaking channel, and you're back to the same damn gun it was. They know that. They know it's retarded. They know it's done. They know any moron can convert it, but it gives them the ability to go, see, plausible deniability. We changed the design. Well, if someone greatly modified our design, that's not our design. So you know what? We can't be liable if someone makes an unauthorized revision or modification.
Right. Which, to their point, is probably smart. Like they have to show effort on their end.
I'm curious to know if they kept the stock ferrule on the back. That's one thing I haven't really been able to find a lot of detail on yet.
We'll find out in a couple of weeks.
That's right. So You can still buy Gen 3 Glock models. Lipsy still has a bunch of them in stock. A lot of stores still have them in stock. I mean, I don't think you're going to see them dry up anytime soon. Even after the V models start shipping, I expect that plenty of Gen 3 and Gen 5 and let's just say previous generation models are still going to be available. And the prices are not expected to be any higher. From what I've been able to tell, they're going to honor the same pricing system, and I think the new V models are going to cost the same as the old models. So if there's no price increase. It's just a minor design change. Take it for what you will on what that's worth to you as to whether or not the sear capability is anything you care about. Maybe people don't care. Personally, I think it's sort of some voluntary gun control, and I don't agree with that. I think the gun should be sear ready, and I think we should be able to buy the sear with the dang gun. But of course, that's me. That's my view. I think that machine guns should be prevalent and out there, and I think anybody should be able to have them that wants them. That's just.
I mean, a company as big as Glock, they should just pull out of those states and say, you know what? If you don't want it, we don't want to sell it to you. We don't want your law enforcement using it. We don't want your citizens to have it. They can fight with rocks and sticks.
Good luck with that.
Good
luck with that.
Yep.
Nah, they're going to get that money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hey, I get it. Like, you're in business to make money. You're not in business to make friends. You're in business to make money. And when you have a company that big, sometimes you pivot slow, but when you pivot, you got to pivot. And, I don't agree with the decision. I think it's kind of pandering a little bit, and I think it also sets up the rest of the industry to some potential libel, if you will. But again, that's another story for another day.
That's right.
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed today's video. I've got many more gun gripes on the way. Also, check out our Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit podcast with Matt and I. We do a long-form episode that comes out every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about everything from politics to gun stuff, tons of neat things. So check it out. We hope that you'll check out Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit. Also, remember, check out SDI down below at the link if you're interested in any college stuff. They got some great programs. So, again, a big thanks to SDI for supporting today's video. And, Matt, thanks for joining me today on the show.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, and, guys, thanks so much. We got many more videos on the way, and we'll see you soon.